Paralympic Aquatics Stadium in Rio de Janeiro. This is the preliminary session on day one of the swimming competition of the 2016 Paralympic Games. The competition format is fairly standard and fairly simple. The fastest 8 swimmers or relay teams in the heats qualify for the finals of that event, and the preliminaries are swum every morning. The finals swum in the evening sessions, local time in Rio de Janeiro. 2 sessions a day. Preliminaries first, followed by the finals. So we're into the competitive section of the Paralympic Games. Men's 100-meter backstroke S6 heats are among the first to get underway. We've got world and Paralympic champions in a number of events. The men's and women's 400-meter freestyle events also set to take place during this session. We have some butterfly events, men's and women's 100 fly S13 heats, a few backstroke events as well, but predominantly freestyle in the opening session on the opening day of the swimming competition at the 2016 Paralympic Games. We're running with the slogan of a new world, Mundo Novo is the Paralympic Games of 2016, and an opportunity for many swimmers to achieve personal bests, to lay down markers in the early morning sessions as well, ahead of the finals. This is the venue, a temporary venue. Will be deconstructed following the Paralympic Games and will be turned into 2 smaller natatoriums or aquatic centres. The Olympic-sized pool will remain. Team members stand by for swimmers to make their way out shortly, but first the starters and the referees will be introduced to those in attendance. Renata Silva, and men's starter, and Vincius Barroso, the women's starter for today's race. The Dutch contingent always come along in bright orange. Lisette Tennison among those who's been impressive. A young star in the making is young Brainsma, who we'll get to see throughout these Paralympic Games of 2016. And Team GB supports, plenty Team GB supports, collection of fine swimmers. Canadians have a strong swimming contingent. And of course, the host nation, Brazil, have some of the greatest of all Paralympic swimmers, including the aptly named Andre Brasil, and indeed Daniel Dias, who played a significant role in the opening ceremony of the Paralympic Games. And an opportunity to watch the very best swimmers compete against the strongest competition in this, the pinnacle of Paralympic swimming. This is the men's 100-meter backstroke S6 Heat 1. There are 2 heats in the S6 category. Start list then for the first heat of 2 in the men's 100-meter backstroke S6. Han up all of Australia going in 2. Thijs van Hofdegen goes in 3. The world champion and Paralympic champion Cheng Tao goes in 4. He's also the world record holder and Paralympic record holder. 1:12.94. The only swimmer to have gone sub 1:13 is Cheng Tao. In international competition, but he'll have some stiff competition certainly later on. Miroslav Semenenko of Ukraine, Luo Fangwu of China, and Yoav Valinsky of Israel are the remaining competitors in the first heat of the morning. So the Paralympic swimming competition is upon us. The very first swimmers make their way out to their respective lanes. In lane 4, Cheng Tao, the 25-year-old 2012 Paralympic champion in this event and world champion at the last 2 World Championships. Going alongside him though in 3 from the Netherlands, Thijs van Hofwegen. But going in lane 2, Matthew Harnappel of Australia. Zheng Tao, world record holder, world champion, Paralympic champion. He is the man to beat. He is in for some tough competition throughout these games, however. Most notably from his compatriot, Jia Hongguang, who goes in heat 2. Thijs van Hofwegen will be going alongside him though in this race in lane 3. Semenko of Ukraine goes in 5. Harnappel, Van Hofwegen, Zheng, Semenenko, Luo and Belinsky from lanes 2 to 7. And this is the first event of the 2016 Paralympic swimming competition. It is the men's 100-meter backstroke S6. We're off to a decent start in lane 4 is the world record holder Zheng Tao, but alongside him Semenenko got off to a fairly special start, but straight into the water. Uses his underwater and streamline to near perfection, does Zheng Tao of China, and already he finds himself into a significant lead in the first lap of the men's 100-meter backstroke S6 category.
Well, it's Semenenko who's starting to come back after that strong start by Zheng. He was off to a flying start, but now as they come into the halfway point, that lead has decreased. Zheng still first at the 10, but very closely followed by Semenenko.
Yeah, good half a second ahead of Semenenko of the Ukraine. Very strong swimmer indeed is Semenenko. Luo Fangyu of China is in 3rd, but at the moment the real race is between the two. Zheng Tao will not be going all out, you would imagine, in the morning session, but does want to lay down a marker ahead of the evening finals. He'll want one of the central lane draws, lanes 4 and 5, but certainly Zheng Tao and Semenenko well ahead of Luo Fangyu. Looks like Thijs van Hofwegen of the Netherlands in 3 is just behind, Harnappel of Australia in 2, and Belinsky in Israel in 7, but it's first to touch from the Chinese swimmer. Zheng Tao 1:13.59, it's a significant marker. Semenenko with a 1:14.78, touches second. Van Hofwegen has come back strongly in the closing stages over the last 25 to out-touch Luo Fangyu at the wall. The swimmer to beat is certainly not disappointed. Semenenko going around about his very best, 1:14.78. But a look at the start, it was Semenenko who got off to a superb start. Lovely push off from the wall, and both swimmers using their underwater for as long as they can, both very capable in the streamline, good at the turn as well. Real leg power from Zheng Tao, just drives himself through the water and then drive in the closing stages towards the wall. So touches ahead of Semenenko. Van Hofwegen of Netherlands with a strong finish. Touches ahead of Luo of China. Harnappel of Australia 5th, and Belinsky of Israel touches 6th. This is the second heat of the 2 for the men's 100-meter backstroke S6. Ong Min Mat of Myanmar, but the swimmer to watch out for certainly is Jia Hongguang, 28-year-old from China, who was silver medalist in this event 4 years ago. But alongside him, you can expect a bit of a cheer for Thaleson Glock of Brazil. little smile for the camera for Alexander Komarov of the Ukraine. Here is the Brazilian Thaleson Glock. Goggles on and ready to perform. Backstroke. All swimmers start from in the water. Little jump into the pool. Jia of China in 4, Glock of Brazil in 5, Gaimin of Indonesia in 6. Judah of Iraq goes in 7. Myanmar swimmer Ong Myint Mat, who carried his own nation's flag at the opening ceremony, goes in 2. Very good start indeed for Jia Hongguang, 28-year-old Paralympic silver medalist from London 4 years ago. Just staying underwater for as long as he possibly can, and again using that underwater great streamline from the swimmer. The Brazilian Thaleson Glock is not quite holding on to the man alongside him. It's going very nicely in lane 2 is the Myanmar swimmer Ong Myint Mat. But it's China all the way. Jia Hongguang, the one challenger perhaps to the world record holder Tao Zheng in this event.
Well, Jia turning first and a few body lengths ahead at that first turn. Going well as well out in lane 2. The flag bearer from Myanmar, Myint Mat, having a good first half.
Really is having a good first half. Just tending towards the lane rope here and the closing 25 meters or so for the Chinese swimmer Jia Hongguang. Well, he missed out at the 2015 IPC World Swimming Championships. He's certainly looking to lay down a marker here. Jia Hongguang is edging towards the world record, and he's looking to break his compatriot's world record. He's going to do it. He's going to dip below for 1:12.27. Second heat of the morning, the first world record. Jia Hongguang has just smashed the world record of his compatriot Zheng Tao, set at the World Championships in Glasgow last year. But that's how you lay down a message of intent ahead of the final. Smash the world record in the heat. The 28-year-old from China looks like he is well set for not only a medal, but a gold medal. But there's still plenty of swimming to be done in the final. Victorious in the heat. Oh, Brazilian Glock finished strong, 1:17.21. He touched second, with Komarov of Ukraine touching in third, just outside the 1:20 mark. But all eyes were focused very much on a man who claimed silver 4 years ago, and it looks like he's edging towards that gold medal in Rio. Well, it was a great race because he was strong in the underwater. He used just about as much as he possibly could. Great turn as well. And then while he tended towards hugging the lane rope in the closing stages, nothing wrong with his time. Leg power just driving him towards the wall. World record time for Jia Hongguang of People's Republic of China, 1:12.27 in the S6 100-meter backstroke heat. Confirmation then of the 8 swimmers through to the final in the 100-meter backstroke S6. It's Chinese compatriots Jia Hongguang and Zheng Tao who will go head-to-head. The new record holder who's just smashed the record of Zheng Tao. But Yaroslav Semenenko might have something to say about where those medals are distributed. On to the women's 100-meter backstroke S6, the first of 2 heats. Five swimmers going in heat 1, including 20-year-old Song Lingling of People's Republic of China. Generally a breaststroke and freestyle specialist, but is going in the women's 100-meter backstroke, having posted a 1:25.41 in qualifying for the Paralympic Games. Fanny Illis of Hungary going into, but the women's 100-meter backstroke S6 Lu Dong of People's Republic of China is the Paralympic champion and indeed reigning world champion, also the world record holder. Going in lane 4, Song Ling. Gillis of Hungary in 2, Romano of Italy in 3, Song of China in 4, Marchenko of Ukraine in 5, and Svaginetseva of Kazakhstan goes in 6. A very strong start from Mareshko of Ukraine. But there is some strong swimming to be seen in this pool. Mareshko, not the strongest of finishers, but Song Ling, she's a very strong swimmer and is now looking to take a little bit of a lead here. Going in lane 4, it is Song Ling, who at the 25-meter mark is just ahead of Mareshko.
Well, Song Ling making up for that poor start, but she is now starting to power ahead of the rest of the field. They come towards the turn, the 50-meter mark. She's got almost a body-length lead. Can she maintain that off the wall? She wasn't as strong off the wall at the start, but she's now got the advantage over the rest of the field as she's heading back towards on the final 50 meters, and she's extending that lead. It's over a body length now for Song of China.
Song ahead of Mareshko of Ukraine. Italy's Emanuele Romano having touched third quickest. She'll be looking to go sub 133, you would imagine. But anything around about the 126 mark in the heat should be more than sufficient to announce to the remainder of the field. And I am looking not only for a medal, but indeed for a gold medal. It is Song Ling who's extending her advantage. A fairly consistent swim, just fading slightly, Mareshko of Ukraine. But looking at a very fast time here. Oh, it is world record time. Song Ling, just a consistent swim rather than a particularly strong finish. Comes to the wall in world record time, 1:24.66. Song Ling, generally a breaststroker and freestyle specialist, who's only recently started backstroke, has just broken the world record of her compatriot Lu Dong. Song Ling goes sub 125 for the first time in her swimming career in the women's 100 backstroke. Touching second was Mareshko, 1:27.64. So not overly strong off the wall was Song to start. Again, very consistent in her stroke. She found a rhythm very early on, it seemed.
Well, it's interesting to see these swimmers coming out and not only delivering personal best, but also delivering world records. You know, the first session, the heats of day 1 here in the pool. I think we've got a lot of exciting performances to see this week.
Oh, she's got a wonderful shoulder roll. And to the wall. It was just a consistent swim. There was no real surge, but the time that she posted, impressive. A world record in the heat for Song Ling of People's Republic of China, 1:24.66. Ahead of Mareshko of Ukraine, Romano of Italy, holding on for that third place. It's all about swimming. Fast times for the fast times in the morning heats will get you into the better lane draws for the evening finals. Women's 100-meter backstroke S6. World record holder until a minute ago, Lu Dong of China goes in lane 4. Getting away fairly quickly, going along in 4, Lu Dong, the 24-year-old, but Oksana Krul of Ukraine, a dominant swimmer at the World Championships, going along in 5, just tailing off slightly, but some real drive from the legs, real leg power from the Chinese swimmer in this women's 100-meter backstroke S6. Lu Dong not quite pulling away, but certainly Lu Dong and Oksana Krul are extending their advantage over the field, edging toward the 50-meter mark with, looks like Tiffany Thomas-Kane of Australia going in lane 3. third quickest.
Lu is going to have the advantage at the turn, and she is feet over first onto the wall. Now she will have seen, she'll be aware that world record is broken, and it'll be interesting to see if she now tries to break that record again, or is going to save herself for the finals later on, because she's now starting to pull away, and she knows she'll be in a good lane draw for the final later on. But we can see the world record line there, and she is right on it. We are going to have an exciting race later this evening between the two Chinese athletes.
It just looks like she's fading ever so slightly, but a good consistent swim is what was needed for Song Ling to break the world record. The world record holder Lu Dong, though, she'll believe in her ability to claim the gold medal once again as the 2012 Paralympic champion comes to the wall. It's going to be outside a world record time, but it's still a very confident 1:26.43, which will pit her against her compatriot in the final. The touch for second is very close indeed. Krul. And, well, it looked like Krul was just ahead of Thomas Kane of Australia in third. Mexican Trejo touched fourth. Riley Boyd of USA touching for fifth, and sixth, 1:40.71 for Gonzalez of Mexico. But Lu Dong, the reigning world champion, the defending Paralympic champion, has just seen her world record smashed. This was Oksana Krul, who got away to a very good start. Good reaction time, good underwater, and good power with the legs. At the turn, though, it was Lu Dong who had firm control of this race and took it all the way to the wall. Just faded in the closing stages, just dipped under that world record time, or dipped outside that world record time. So this is how the swimmers line up then, the 8 fastest who will advance to the 100 backstroke S6 final. Song and Lu will go head to head in what should be a titanic tussle between the new record holder and the defending Paralympic champion. The first of 2 heats for the men's 400-meter freestyle S8. Goila of Philippines goes in 2. Xu and Wang of China go in 3 and 4. Joseph Craig of Great Britain goes in 5. Bogdan Hrynienko of Ukraine goes in 6, and Evan Austin of the United States goes in 7. World record held by Ollie Hind, 4:23.76. His compatriot, Joseph Craig, goes in lane 5 for Great Britain. He'll be alongside a particularly quick swimmer from People's Republic of China, Wang Yinan. Goilan, Xu, Wang, Craig, Hrynienko and Austin from lanes 2 to 7. Men's 400-meter freestyle S8. Well, it was very quick off the starting block for Joseph Craig of Great Britain. And the underwater does not last too long, and while Craig looks to be leading in the early stages of this men's 400 free, which is 8 lengths of this Olympic-sized pool, 50 meters for 1 length. Wang is looking to pace himself, but it's Craig of Great Britain who looks to be leading in the early stages. Xu Haijiao of China goes in 3 as well. First to touch, though, is Craig of Great Britain ahead of Xu and Wang. Kironenko of Ukraine is fourth fastest, but not a great deal separating these swimmers. But over 8 lengths of the pool, there's still plenty of tactical aspects to consider for the swimmers.
It is very much about pacing, and don't forget they have to race again this evening. So it's about having a decent lane draw, but being inside that top 8 and having enough to really bring it out when it matters later on, when the medals are decided. Just seeing the world record there, Joseph Craig of Great Britain in the lead, and not too far behind the world record at the moment, as we just finished the first 100 meters of this 400-meter men's 400 S8 category. Now, the world record held by Craig's compatriot from this year, July this year, so he'll be going in the heat number 2. This is one of the 2 heats.
Wonderful technology that we've come to embrace in recent years, with the cameras under the water, which allow the views of the swimmers, and an opportunity as well, I've noticed in recent years, for swimmers to study and learn from swimmers by following underwater movements. Never previously had opportunities to see, not until fairly recently, to see the different angles. And it's amazing how many breaststrokers in particular have started to see some of the great breaststrokers at their very best, their underwater movements so clearly on these cameras, and many have conceded that they will sometimes log on to the World Wide Web and see who does what underwater and then see if they can improve their techniques from there. But at the 200-meter mark at 2:17.90, Craig is still in front of the Chinese duo of Xu and Wang.
It looks as though Craig is quite comfortable leading this race out from the start. He's had that lead for the first half of the race now, and this is when things can start to change as we head into the second 200 meters, the back end of this men's 400 freestyle. And it's Craig who's still setting the pace, but on his shoulder, Wang and Zhu, the People's Republic of China, are not letting him out of sight. And it looks as though they could be starting to just wind that gap in ever so slightly as they turn at the 250-meter mark, just 0.59 of a second down. Wang now ahead of his teammate Zhu. And you can see that gap starting to close as Craig maintains the lead. He's just trying to stay in his rhythm, and these 3 athletes will be wanting to conserve enough energy to really make sure they can excel later this evening when they have to do this 400 meters all over again in the finals.
Well, what is impressive about Joseph Craig is that he's a swimmer that is still maturing, he's still developing. He's only 19 years old, and you may recall, with 100 meters now to go in the men's 400-meter freestyle S8 first heat, is that Joseph Craig actually competed and won this event in the S7 classification, but was moved just last year. Was it 2014 now? It's 2 years ago. He was moved to the S8 classification. Initially found the change a little difficult, but ultimately found himself able to get into his own, find a bit of a rhythm. Now, this is turning out to be a strong finish here from Wang. Wang is now showing a little intent in the closing 100, and Wang touches ahead of Craig in the closing stages. It looked to be a smart swim from the great British swimmer, but the Chinese duo alongside him, you can see how close it is, barely a stroke in it, and it's really who's going to be caught between strokes when they come to the wall, and this is only the heats.
Well, it looks as though Craig is not happy to let the Chinese go now, and we're having a very fast finish, so that between these 3 athletes it really is still anybody's race. They are stroke for stroke between the 2 Chinese athletes and the Great Britain athlete, and it looks as though it is the reigning Paralympic champion Wang who wins the first heat of this men's 400 freestyle S8, with his teammate Zhu taking second, and Craig, who led for so much of the race, finishing in third.
So Wang ahead of Xu, ahead of Craig, but there's not much between them. Less than a second separating the top 3 over 400 meters. Men's 400 freestyle S8, and if the first of 2 heats is anything to go by, the final should be a cracking affair. Well, it was a smart race from Joseph Craig. He led for much of it, for 300 meters. He was in control, he was in charge. and he had a good rhythm. But in the closing 100, it was the eventual winner, Wang, who made his move. Finding a rhythm early on is the key to success in the pool of the 6 swimmers. Wang ahead of Zhu, ahead of Craig. Krenenko of Ukraine 4. Goelon of Philippines in 5, and Austin of the United States touching 6th. This is heat 2 of the men's 400-meter freestyle S8. Start list sees 6 swimmers, including Ollie Hind, an IM specialist, but indeed world record holder. Very few swimmers swim the individual medley quite so well as Ollie Hind, but the world record holder going in the men's 400 freestyle. Angles, Griswold, Hind, Oliveira, Cochran and Schmidtke. It's a very impressive start for Blake Cochran of Australia, going in 6. Used his underwater nicely as well. Ollie Hind going in lane 4 with a red cap, is now just ahead of Griswold of the United States, going in 3. Just over his right shoulder. Going in lane 6 of Australia, Blake Cochran just trying to hold on in the opening stages. But again, a race over 8 lengths of this Olympic-sized pool. And certainly there's plenty of opportunity to find a rhythm, settle into your stroke. But at the opening turn, it is Hind by over a second from Griswold. And indeed, Caio Oliveira of Brazil will be expecting to make the final in front of his home crowd. And what an occasion as well for the Brazilian swimmers to be competing in the pinnacle of Paralympic swimming competition in front of their home crowd.
You could hear the roar at the start with the athletes just before getting on the block. That cheer for Brazil, and it's erupting again here in the stadium. But Oliver Hind really opened up that lead over 1.5 seconds after the first 100 meters, and he has decided to take this race on from the start. We saw his teammate in heat number 1 lead for so much of the race, and Craig finished in 3rd. But I don't, at the moment, Hind is not even giving his opponents a chance to stay on his shoulder. He's got a couple of body length lead already, and well, broke the world record earlier this year. It'll be interesting to see how he is swimming in comparison to that world record now. He's got an over 3-second lead after the first 150 meters. This is quite an impression he's wanting to make at the early stages of this race.
Well, he is, and there's a bit of a family tradition, of course, to uphold. His mother was a torchbearer, and leading up to the London Paralympic Games, his older brother Sam was a Paralympic champion at this event in Beijing. He finished 2nd in the 400 freestyle 4 years ago, but having broken the world record, as you say, earlier this year, he is desperate to claim the gold medal, and looks like he's heading out at fairly furious pace here. Ollie Hind, just judging by his splits, at 2:11.57, he is well under world record pace, and he's got the ability to swim just about even splits, and perhaps even negative splits. He's got a lot in the tank. He's a very strong swimmer, particularly in the back end. And somebody who's been swimming since a very young age is Ollie Hind. Only 21 years old, so still getting stronger and maturing as a swimmer. But what an example that he has in his family, with an older brother already a Paralympic champion. Let's not forget, though, he is a Paralympic champion in his own right, having won the 200 IM so brilliantly in London 4 years ago. But looking to lay down a marker here in heat 2 of 2 in the men's 400 free.
At the 200-meter mark, he was 6 seconds ahead of the heat number 1 at that stage in the race. So this is 2 heats in the men's 400, but at the moment, this heat 2 is going to deliver a much faster time into the final 100 meters. and showing no sign of tiring.
Well, if he carries on at this pace, he is going to break his own world record by over a second. Is he going to be able to keep it on when he's on that sort of pace at the moment, is Oliver Hine. So this is building up to be a thoroughly impressive race. I can tell you that alongside him is Griswold of the United States going in 3, Kyle Oliveira and Blake Cochran. They're battling it out, but they're some way behind. A 3:56.94. Oliver Hine is well under world record pace here. And is he going to slow down? Or is he going to try and carry on to the wall?
Now the crowd are trying to bring him home. They know it's close to a world record.
He slowed it down. He slowed it right down. It just looked like he eased off ever so slightly. He wants to leave something for the evening finals, but a very impressive first 300 meters from Ollie Hine, the world record holder, 4:31.90. Griswold of the United States touches second, while the Brazilian gets an enormous roar appropriately. Team GB cheering for Ollie Hine. Go Oliveira of Brazil. A little touch in third, bringing some cheer and delight to the partisan audience. Well, winner of the second heat, world record holder Ollie Hine. Well, and world record pace for the opening stages, but just slowed it down in the final 100. He had done more than what he needed to. Solid on the turn. There was some furious strokes out there. He had a really good stroke rate at one stage. And up till about the 300 mark, he was pushing. But still, very quick coming home. Ollie Hine driving it to the wall, and he finishes well ahead of any other swimmer in the second heat. So confirmation then, Hine ahead of Griswold, ahead of Oliveira. They're all safely through to the final. And the 8 swimmers through. The 2 Australians, Cochran and Ongles, find their way through. 2 great British swimmers, Hind and Craig. 2 Chinese swimmers, Wang and Xu. And then for the home crowd as well, Kyle Oliveira. Event number 4 is the women's 400-meter freestyle S8. That's the first of 2 heats. Six swimmers that go in the first heat. Dushkova of Czech Republic, Bro of the United States, Patterson of Australia, Elliott of Australia of the United States. Wegeman goes in 6. And Brazil's Cecilia Geronimo de Araujo goes in 7. Lakeisha Patterson of Australia going in lane 4. She's among the fastest of all the qualifiers. Wegeman of the United States. She'll be swimming from lane 6, but it's her compatriot Jessica Long who is the world record holder in this event. Czech swimmer going in lane 2, Vendula Dushkova. Watch out for Lakeisha Patterson. She's taken 20 seconds off her time over this distance over the last year alone. 17 years old. She's growing into her stroke. Certainly a contender in this women's 400-meter freestyle. She goes in lane 4. Slight delay on the starters blocks for the swimmers. Closest to your screen, Duskova. Oh, great underwater from Madison Elliott of Australia, but alongside her, it's Patterson straight into her stroke. Going in lane 7, though, very early on, is the Brazilian swimmer. Closest to your screen, Cecilia Geronimo de Arrojo. But again, it's 8 lengths of this 50-meter pool, the women's 400-meter freestyle. Who can find their rhythm early on? Patterson wanting to touch first and does so, just a shade ahead of compatriot Elliott. It's Wigerman and Bro of the United States who touch in 3rd and 4th respectively. But the 2 Australians are coming into their own, and indeed Lakeisha Patterson, as I say, 20 seconds off her time over the last year. She is somebody who is showing wonderful improvement over this distance and in this stroke. But at 17 years old, still learning a great deal about the art of swimming, the skill and the different aspects involved.
Well, Patterson leading at the 100-meter ahead of her teammate Elliott. And if any time to raise your game and deliver those personal bests, the Paralympic Games is the platform to do it on. So we'll expect to see more improvements from the young Australian. She's taking this race on. She's got that body length lead now over her teammate Elliott, and finding a nice rhythm. The 400-meter freestyle is all about finding that rhythm and seeing what you've got left at the end. And she's certainly into that now. Stroke rate slowed down a little bit from the first opening 100. Getting into the pace. A 2-second lead Patterson has over her teammate Elliott. And turning in 3rd is Bro of the USA.
She's only been competing internationally really for the last 2 years as Lakeisha Patterson. But already she's shown her ability in the shorter freestyle distances. Certainly was a medalist at the Commonwealth Games over 100 freestyle in the SA classification, and already at the World Championships a silver medalist in the 50 free. A couple of 4x100 freestyle relay medals that she's picked up along the way, including at the World Championships, a gold there. But in the 400 freestyle, she started to come into her own. When she won the bronze in Glasgow last year at the World Championships, she swam at a 5:04 to win that bronze. But in qualifying for the Paralympic Games was down to a 4:45. And already showing further intent here at the 250-meter mark. Touches in 3:04.62.
Well, Elliott now just still trying to stay in touch with Patterson. Patterson has set this pace. Elliott won the bronze medal 4 years ago. She'll be hoping to improve on that, but it looks as though her teammate Lakeisha Patterson might be a little bit too far ahead to catch in these heats. But don't forget, things can change in the final. These athletes, some prefer to take it out hard in the morning sessions, really see what form they're in, and Patterson seems to be doing that now with just the final phase, the final 100 meters of this race, and Patterson with a very comfortable lead.
Just a good 7 seconds ahead of compatriot Elliott, who was a bronze medalist in this event at the Paralympic Games 4 years ago, but somebody who picked up a host of medals in London 4 years ago, 4 in total, including a relay gold, 4x100 relay, at the World Championships. The 6-time world champion is Elliott, but she's being left behind by her compatriot Patterson. Bro and Wigerman of the United States looked strong for a while, but just fading ever so slightly. It's Bro who's swimming stronger at the moment. Duskova on her outside is trying to make up some time, but in the closing stages of this opening heat of the women's 400-meter freestyle S8, it is indeed Lakeisha Patterson who is going to romp to victory. It's a very comfortable time. She'll go under the 5-minute mark, and that is a great marker over this distance. 4:57.37. Lakeisha Patterson of Australia touches well ahead of Madison Elliott. She's a regular 5-minute swimmer, 5:01 swimmer. Elliott touches in 5:09.85, so not expending all her energy. It's Bro of the United States, Brickle Bro. Touches third. Dushkova of Czech Republic, fourth, just outside 5:20. For Brazil, a cheer for Giseong Jo. Oh, Wigerman faded in the closing stages, touches sixth. Oh, a little smile. A victory in the heats for Lakeisha Patterson.
I think that's job done, she's saying. Made it look easy to Patterson in that first heat of the women's 400 freestyle S8. She paced it, and I think she knows there's plenty more in the tank for later this evening in the finals.
Not to give away too much indeed, but solid swim from Patterson of Australia, who goes some 5 minutes. It's Elliott of Australia and Bro of the United States, second and third. The second heat of two in the women's 400-meter freestyle S8. The world record holder goes in lane 4, Jessica Long of the United States. 3 Canadians swimming in this pool, Duquesne, Bird and Tripp, but all eyes will be focused on Jessica Long, a 17-time Paralympic medalist, and she's only 24 years old. Jessica Long has won the 400 freestyle at the last 3 Paralympic Games. At 24, this is an event she's looking to win for the 4th time. World record holder, 3-time defending Paralympic champion, 24-year-old Jessica Long goes in lane 4. And eyes will certainly be focused on Long, who got off to a very good start. 0.59 reaction time off the starting block for the American swimmer. The women's 400-meter freestyle S8, 8 lengths of this Olympic-sized pool. But on her right shoulder, Amalie Winter of Denmark is looking very strong in the opening stages. And she's got Stephanie Millward of Great Britain in lane 5 alongside her. And these are all swimmers who've got the ability to go quick. And Millward in particular has got the ability to stay within touching distance, within striking range of Jessica Long, although Long, with her ability, with a remarkable record, you get a sense will always have the ability to just move it up a gear should another swimmer threaten.
Well, Millward won a silver in this event in the S9 category in London, so now competing in the S8. It'll be interesting to see if she can really challenge Long in this women's 400 freestyle S8. Millward won 5 medals in the 2012 Paralympic Games, but it is Long with over 2.5-second lead at the first 100 meters. The American not really giving Millward much chance to stay on her shoulder at these early stages. She's taking the race on from the start, wanting to make her mark in this heat number 2, 400 freestyle. 12 gold medals from the Paralympics. Jessica Long, really one of those dominant swimmers in the pool, and off to a great start on this opening day.
Well, that's exactly it. Jessica Long, I mean, not only is she a 12-time Paralympic gold medalist, 17-time medalist, she's a 23-time world champion. And again, I repeat, she's only 24. What she's been able to do in the pool is nothing short of absolutely extraordinary. And the very first para-athlete to win the Amateur Athletic Union Sullivan Award, which is the award that's given out annually to the best amateur athlete in the United States, which is something that speaks to just her ability and how highly regarded Jessica Long is in not only the United States, but indeed around the world. And she's got still a long way to go to beat Trisha Zorn for the most successful Paralympian in some way. Trisha Zorn, the visually impaired swimmer who claimed over 50 Paralympic medals, 41 gold in her incredible career. And Jessica Long at the turn, 250-meter mark at 2:56.63. She's comfortably ahead of anybody else. In fact, she's nearly a full 50 meters ahead of Kelly of Ireland in lane 1. But while Long goes in lane 4, Stephanie Millward going in 5 is second, and third at the moment is still Amalie Winter of Denmark, who is strong in the opening 50-odd meters. It's a bit of a battle going on between Morgan Bird of Canada and her compatriot Sabrina Duquesne in 2. And then Abby Tripp of Canada touching in 7. But this is Millward coming to the wall with 100 meters to go. Jessica Long is already 50 meters out into the pool in the final 2 legs. So nearly 10 seconds separating Long from Millward. Millward knows she's got an enormous battle on her hands in trying to out-touch Jessica Long. Multiple times she's been named the Para Swimmer of the Year by Swimming World magazine. She's a swimmer who's been so dominant in the pool, not just over the 400, but indeed this is one of the events in which Jessica Long has certainly impressed. She's going to be coming to the wall in a fairly comfortable time here.
That was a time of 4:57 posted in heat number 1. I think she's comfortably going to be inside that, and that will put her through as, no surprises, the favourite going into the final this evening. To 4:57 clocked by Lakeisha Patterson of Australia in the first heat, and Jessica Long a 4:48.26 to win very comfortably heat number 2. Stephanie Millward of Great Britain touches in second, and it looks as though no drastic changes in the final 50 meters. And coming in now, Amalie Winter, Denmark, to touch in third.
So Long, a very impressive 4:48.26, touching ahead of Millward, who dips under the 5-minute mark, a 5:13.99 for Winter of Denmark, and Abby Tripp with a strong finish for Canada touches ahead of Morgan Bird. So a very strong final 100. Duquesne and Bird in the end touching very close to one another, but Tripp with a strong finish to finish top of the Canadian trio. And Kelly of Ireland touches 6th, 5:41.36. But Jessica Long of the United States, the most decorated active US para-athlete, just superb. From the start was Jessica Long, aiming for her 4th consecutive gold in the 400 freestyle. She'll also be going for her 4th consecutive gold in the 100 freestyle. And also a very strong butterfly swimmer is Jessica Long. But the 24-year-old world record holder shows her ability in the second heat of 2, Long ahead of Millward. The 8 swimmers who advance to the final: Long, Patterson, Millward, Elliott, Winter, Bro, Dushkova and Tripp of Canada. That touch proving vital in the end. The men's 100-meter breaststroke SB9. Dutra, Elliott, Leroux, Dubrov, Pendleton, Buckley, and Marcela of Brazil. Away they go in the men's 100-meter breaststroke SB9. Denis Dubrov of the Ukraine got off to a really good start, going in 3 as well. James Leroux of Canada is looking very good in the opening 50, just tailing back slightly of Australia's Rick Pendleton, but he's got some finish in the pool. Going in 6 is Isaac Buckley of Canada as well, but at the moment it's Leroux of Canada and Dubrov of the Ukraine who are battling to the wall. It's Dubrov who touches only just ahead of Leroux of Canada. Pendleton of Australia hanging on, and Alec Elliott needs to have something in his finish if he is to be competitive here. It's Dubrov of the Ukraine coming into his own, very strong swimmer. Looks to have the strongest of the finishes to the line, and Dubrov is not going to be denied here.
And he's extending that lead, the final few strokes. This men's 100-meter breaststroke, heat 1. And that looks comfortable for Dubrov of Ukraine. Second, Pendleton of Australia. And Leroux had a strong start, touches in third for Canada. Dubrov had that from the start under control. And breaststroke really is a stroke you cannot rush, especially over the 100 meters. Denis Dubrov of Ukraine tops heat 1. Rick Pendleton of Australia second. James Leroux third, and Canada third, fourth and fifth in that first heat.
Well, this is heat 2 of the men's 100-meter breaststroke of the SB9, including former world record holder and former Paralympic champion Kevin Paul of South Africa in 4. Souza of Brazil goes in 7 and is acknowledged by his home fans. Kevin Paul of South Africa off to a strong start. He uses the underwater very nicely. He trains alongside former Olympic champion Chad Leclos, with national swimming coach Graham Hill in South Africa. And very strong into his stroke is Kevin Paul of South Africa going in 4. Duncan van Haren of Netherlands going in lane 3 over his right shoulder. And over his left shoulder is Lin Furong of People's Republic of China. It's Vanchenko of Ukraine in 6, but it's all about Kevin Paul, the 2008 champion in Beijing in this event. Former world record holder. He's a 1:04 swimmer. His world record broken, though, by Russian swimmer Poltavtsev. But it's Kevin Paul who is showing his intent early on in this men's 100-meter breaststroke SB9.
Paul, the Paralympic champion from 2008, pipped to second in 2012, so he's looking to rectify that here in Rio, and off to a strong start, winning heat number 2, Kevin Paul of South Africa. Second, Van Haren, Netherlands, and third, Vanchenko, Ukraine.
Well, a roar of approval for De Souza as he touched in 1:13.63, but Kevin Paul in 1:06.19. Man who studied law in South Africa, Kevin Paul. but he gets into his stroke so quickly, does Kevin Paul, and he uses his underwater so well. Gets as much distance as he's legally allowed to off the wall underwater before breaking the water and then getting into his stroke. But once he does, he makes it count. Kevin Paul touches ahead of Duncan van Harden and Dmitro Panchenko. Well, the qualifying swimmers, Paul, Van Haren, Dubarov, Panchenko, Lin, Pendleton, Hidajar and Leroux. It's the first heat of the women's 100-meter breaststroke SB9. Five swimmers, including Harriet Lee of Great Britain in 4 and Zhang Meng of China going in 5. Oh, it's a very sluggish start from Zhang Meng of China, but going in lane 4, Harriet Lee of Great Britain, but a good underwater from the Chinese swimmer. Sees her come up and just off the left shoulder of the great British swimmer. She's a sub-118 swimmer over this distance, is Harriet Lee, so she'll be eyeing the quickest time in the first heat of 2. Watch out for Australia's Paige Leonhardt as well. Going over the right shoulder of the great British swimmer in lane 3. Ika of Japan going in 2 and Svatkutsakaya of Belarus going in 6. But at the turn, it is Lee who is a good second and a half ahead of Leonhardt and Zhang.
Well, Lee looking comfortable taking on this race with a great start. What can the other two athletes do? Leonhardt now trying to make a move, the Australian in lane 3, and Zhang on the other side. China actually coming back on Lee. Lee had such a strong start, but now these swimmers are stroke for stroke, and it's between these three as they come into the final 15 meters.
Well, this is intriguing, certainly, just fading tremendously here, Harriet Lee, but a strong finish from Zhang Meng of China. We'll see her touch first, and indeed Leonhardt touches second. Harriet Lee needs to settle for third, but a very impressive back 50 from Zhang Meng of China, 1:20.84. Leonhardt as well, a very strong finish of 1:21.67, and 0.3 of a second behind is Harriet Lee. But what a swim from Zhang Meng. That back 50, so impressive.
A raise of the eyebrows by Harriet Lee, just looking a little bit dismayed at her time. She is 3 seconds or 4 seconds off her qualifying time.
The results in the first heat, Zhang ahead of Leonhardt, ahead of Lee. What a race between the top 3. Final 15 meters, they were all side by side, but Zhang were the strongest of the finishers. Women's 100-meter breaststroke SB9, Chantal Zuiderveld of the Netherlands is the reigning world champion and has the world record currently. Chantal Zuiderveld, Jessica Sloan's Paralympic record of 1:16.93, perhaps in danger at these games. The second heat of 2 in the women's 100 breaststroke is underway in this SB9 classification. Ichinose of Japan in 2, Scott of Australia in 3, Zuiderveld of Netherlands in 4, her compatriot Kreur of Netherlands in 5, and Jimenez of Argentina going in 6, but not looking to leave anything to chance. Lisa Kreur, another one of the very young, talented swimmers to be coming out of the Netherlands, is making a real push in lane 5 and looks to be taking the race to her Dutch compatriot. Kreuger ahead of Zuiderveld, the world record holder, the world champion. It should be mentioned that Zuiderveld's still only 15 years old, but this is turning out to be an intriguing race. Has she gone out too hard, or will she be able to hold on, Krier?
Well, we saw so many changes in Heat 1 and those last 25 metres, but it really has been a strong performance by Lisa Kruger that first half, and I think she's going to hang on into the last 15 metres now, and Jadaval has got a lot of work to do if she's going to come back on her compatriot. They come into the final stages. It is going to be Kruger who was quite a surprise win for the athlete from the Netherlands, ahead of the current world champion Jadaval, touching in second, and third place going to Scott of Australia.
Oh, that was an intriguing race, because we've just seen a big touch, a new world record from Krier, the 16-year-old celebrating. A very strong swim, and while the strokes were shortening in the closing stages, it was just a very shortened stroke rate, very quick. And look at the reaction when she sees her time. You've just broken the world record in the women's 100 breaststroke SB9. World record for Krier, ahead of Zuiderveld. The two Dutch swimmers looking good for perhaps gold and silver in the final, but plenty swimming still to come. The first swimmer ever to go under 1:16 in the SB9 classification. Krier beats Zuiderveld. Scott of Australia finishes third quickest. Zhang Meng among those qualifying for the final. This is the first of two heats in the men's 100-meter freestyle S4. Five swimmers go in the first heats. Petra Cech of Czech Republic, Jin of China, Sanchez Martinez of Mexico, Schoenmaker of Netherlands going in 5, and Povsil of Czech Republic going in 6. Petra Cech of the Czech Republic. Petra Cech, Jin, Sanchez Martinez, Schoenmaker, and Povsil. Getting away quickly, going in lane 2 was Petra Cech, getting a good distance on the underwater, but alongside him now it's Jin Qipeng of China, who's got into his stroke quickest. The reigning Paralympic champion Sanchez Martinez of Mexico goes in lane 4. I feel that he's got enough to take it to the wall in the morning heats, but it's a decent swim from Schoenmaker and Povsil as well. No swimmer has really gotten away from any others in the pool, although there is a lead for Jin Qipeng of People's Republic of China. He takes it to the wall first at the 50-meter mark in this men's 100 freestyle S4.
I will expect to see a stronger second half of the race for Sanchez Martinez, unless he's really keeping something back for the finals, but they still want a good lane draw later on. And it's looking like Jin of China is wanting to get that ultimate lane draw later on, because he's still got the lead at the 25-meter mark. Starting to come back strong, actually. It's lane 5, Schumacher of Netherlands, who is now ahead of Sanchez Martinez, the Paralympic champion from just 4 years ago in the 100 and the 200. Jin Qipeng, People's Republic of China, into his final 5 meters, this heat number 1. And it looks as though he's got it wrapped up. So heat 1 goes to Qipeng, China. Second to Schumacher, and the Paralympic champion Sanchez Martinez touches in third.
not an overly quick time for the Chinese swimmer Jin Jiping, but he takes it. 1:26.77, good enough for the victory in the opening heat for the Chinese swimmer, ahead of Schoenmaker of Netherlands, and Sanchez Martinez well off, anywhere close to his regular times. He's a 1:24 swimmer at his best.
Well, that was a significant personal best for Jin Jiping. Almost a second and a half quicker than his qualifying time.
So the first heat results. Jin ahead of Schoenmaker, ahead of Sanchez Martinez, the defending champion. In the heats, of course, it's about posting times quick enough to make it through to the final. This is the second heat of the men's 100-meter freestyle S4. 5 swimmers looking for times quick enough to see them through to the final. Giseong Jo of Korea goes in 4. Boni, Juric, Jo, Smetanin and Derevinsky. And Ukraine going in 6. Well, the Korean reigning world champion in the men's 100-meter freestyle S4, Giseong, gets off to a good start. This is one of the sprint events that he'll be contending at the Paralympic Games, but alongside him, Darko Đurić of Slovenia is going along very strongly indeed. Some good pace and a good early stroke. He's settled very nicely, is the Slovenian swimmer. He's got such a good pull. Look at the power that he's generating with the cupping of the hand. Breaks the water very smoothly indeed, and then just an enormous pull. But it is looking to be the Korean swimmer who will touch first. Not too far ahead of Đurić, who had trouble at the turn, it seems. It's the Frenchman Smetanin who's touched second, and Derevinsky touching in third. But that is decent time.
That's still very close across the pool, although you can see Jo, Korea, just showing his quality now, the reigning world champion over this distance and the 200 freestyle, starting to show his mark on the field.
Well, he's very strong in the finish, is the Korean swimmer Jo Giseong, and the 20-year-old will come home comfortably to touch first in the second heat. On 1:26.82, he'll qualify with Smetanin of France and Đurić of Slovenia for the final. Derevinsky comes home for Ukraine, and Italy's Vincenzo Boni is 3 swimmer. Touches 5th, Jo Giseong. Looking for a Paralympic gold medal to go alongside his world title. Result of the second heat in the men's 100 free S4. Korea claiming victory. These are the 8 fastest swimmers who advance to the final. Jin, Jo, China and Korea respectively, Smetanin, Đurić, Schoenmaker, Sanchez Martinez, the defending champion, Derevinsky, and Bovisil of Czech Republic sneaks into the final. This is the women's 100-meter freestyle, S3. Start list for the first heat of 2. 6 swimmers. Now, well, not the world record holder. I can tell you that Peng of China is very close to the world record. So the wave for the camera from Stamatopoulou, one of the Greek swimmers. Brazilian swimmer Maria Regina Pereira Barreto. No doubt a great deal of cheer for the Brazilian swimmer. Plenty of encouragement for all the Brazilian athletes at the Olympic Games, and similar reactions expected throughout the Paralympic Games, of course. Peng Cho-ping of China goes in lane 4.
Alongside her lane 5, you had Swiderska, the silver medalist from London 2012, and again a silver medalist from last year's World Championships in Glasgow.
The women's 100-meter freestyle S3 is underway. Giseong of Greece alongside compatriot Stamatopoulou going in 3, and Stamatopoulou at the moment is challenging Peng in China of China in lane 4 in the early stages of this race. Swiderska of Ukraine going in 5, very strong. The Brazilian swimmer Pereira Barreto going in 6, and Ramirez of Mexico in lane 7. But at the moment it is Peng who leads ahead of Stamatopoulou, with Swiderska not too far off. Just the 3 swimmers pulling away from the remainder of the field in a somewhat of a stagger here. And it is Peng of China who touches first, 43.85 ahead of Stamatopoulou, with Swiderska of Ukraine, 47.71, so nearly 4 seconds off the pace of Peng at the opening 50.
Peng of China actually has a qualifying time of 15 seconds quicker than Stamatopoulou, so we'd expect to see Peng starting to open up that gap, and it's not happening at the moment. And on her right shoulder, Swiderska of Ukraine having a strong second half, and it looks as though it's very close now between the Chinese athlete and the Ukrainian as they come into the final 15, and I think now Swiderska taking the lead.
Well, Swiderska, 47.71 at the turn. She was nearly 4 seconds behind, but a real battle developing here. And Swiderska, a very strong back end. The silver medalist in the 50 and 100 in London. It just touches ahead of Peng. Well, less than a 1/10 of a second separating the 2 swimmers. It is Stamatopoulou who touches for 3rd. But Peng out-touched at the wall by Swiderska with an impressively strong back end.
That turned out to be an incredibly close finish. Stamatopoulou in 3rd, taking 6 seconds off her qualifying time, so she's going to be taking encouragement from that into the finals later on this evening. And the crowd's now getting excited as Pereira Barreto, Brazil, touches in 4th. The crowd in the Olympic Aquatic Stadium here really supporting their home athletes.
Well, the atmosphere is building, certainly in the morning session, in the preliminary session. The final session is going to be absolutely electric. Mexico's Ramirez touching 6th. Well, Swiderska, what a finish. Such a strong back end. 4 odd seconds separating she and Peng in the opening 50. By the back end. Very solid finish. So Olga Swiderska of Ukraine, multiple world champion, a former world champion over this distance back in 2013. Swiderska claims victory in Paralympic record time 1:39.07 in the women's 100-meter freestyle S3. This is the second heat of 2 in the women's 100-meter freestyle S3. Seven swimmers go in this heat. The world record holder, Gabidulina, going in lane 4, the Kazakh swimmer. Oh, a little wave. A little wave. So Paralympic record has been set in the first heat of 2. In the second, women's 100-meter freestyle S3. Will Gabidulina have something to say about that? Meng Guo Feng among those swimming, and Lisette Tiernissen going in 5. Korenko of Israel in 1, Conradi of Germany in 2, Meng of China in 3, Gabidulina in 4 of Kazakhstan, Tiernissen, Netherlands in 5, and the Mexicans, Valle and Aceves Perez going in 6 and 7. Well, a very impressive start from Aceves Perez of Mexico, but straight into a stroke, Zulfia Gabidulina, who, would you believe, is already 50 years old, from Taraz in Kazakhstan. The world record holder.
She's still obviously swimming well, because that world record only posted earlier this year. Still making personal records at that stage in her career. And alongside her, Tiernissen, who's the reigning world champion, and from just last year in Glasgow, silver 2 years before that.
Well, she's been a wheelchair racer for much of her career as a para-athlete, but has only recently switched to swimming. And it's somebody who's taken to the pool like a duck to water, some might say, to use the proverb, but certainly she's really impressed in the pool and is leading by a confident margin ahead of Tiernissen and Meng, who in the second heat in the women's 100-meter freestyle. So Gabidulina of Kazakhstan wanting to improve on the Paralympic record that's just been set by Swiderska, but well off world record pace here. Gabidulina will just be worried about qualifying with the fastest time, you would imagine. She wants the decent lane draw. Gabidulina of Kazakhstan will touch ahead of Lisette Tiernissen of the Netherlands, and indeed Gabidulina 1:39.17. So outside Paralympic record time, Tiernissen doing enough to touch in second, and Meng of China in third. It looks to be in lane 6. Patricia Valle coming in for the touch at 4th. Two Mexican swimmers alongside one another. Valle and Aceves Perez. But it is Valle of Mexico, 4th fastest. 2:09.03. Aceves Perez touches in 2:18.91. Anka Conradi of Germany comes to the wall, 2:28.74. Veronika Kurenko of Israel still making her way to the wall, but a very strong swim from the Kazakhstan swimmer, Zulfia Gabidulina. And appropriate applause for Kurenko. Former wheelchair racer turned swimmer who has just done remarkable things in the pool since deciding to go the way of the pool. Reigning world record holder Gabardolina won't qualify quickest, but will have a decent lane draw for the women's 100-meter freestyle S3 final. Will be confident of claiming at least a medal, if not gold.
She has that bronze from the World Championships last year. Comfortably won the second heat, but the fastest swimmers seem to be in heat number 1 for this women's 100 freestyle S3. Gabardolina almost 5 seconds off her own world record.
So Gabardolina, a victory in the second heat of the women's 100-meter freestyle S3. A little smile for the camera. Gabardolina, 1:39.17. She's happy. Claimed victory in the second heat ahead of Tiersen and Meng Guofeng. Mexicans Valle and Aceves Perez touching 4th and 5th fastest. So advancing to the final, Valle sneaks in, and so too the Brazilian, but Swiderska ahead of the world record holder in the final. This is the men's 100-meter backstroke S14, the first heat of 2. Among those in the first heat is the reigning champion, Paralympic record holder. He swam that 1:01.85 Paralympic record in winning gold in London 4 years ago. Mark Evers, Cho, Michi, Evers, Tsugawa, Van de Put and Araya. Getting away quickly indeed. Very, very strong start from Cho Won-sang of Korea Republic. Very strong indeed, but Gordon Michi alongside him is got some decent pace, and Mark Evers struggling to get into his stroke. At the moment he's even behind Tsugawa in lane 5, so the defending champion has got a little work to do, but he's got a strong back end. He'll be looking to make it count then. Cho starting to fade. Michi, Evers and Tsugawa are taking it to the wall, but coming into his stroke now is Evers, and he's quickest to turn. Just superb at the wall. What a turn that was, and already half a body length ahead of anybody else.
Well, look at that. He's just turned the race around. It looks as though he was off to a slightly slow start, but the back end of the race is incredibly strong for Evers, Netherlands, as he still maintains that body length lead over the rest of the field. Look how strong his leg kick is now into the final 15 meters. Well, the gold medalist from London was a bronze at last year's World Championships, but he's setting off his campaign as he needs to go on here. Mark Evers, the Netherlands, wins heat 1 quite comfortably there. Second to Tsugawa, Japan, and third, Cho of Korea.
And he's just broken his own Paralympic record in the morning heats as Mark Evers, just outside the 1 minute mark, but a swimmer capable of going well below the 60-second mark. A new Paralympic record, just under 1:01. So Mark Evers of Netherlands touching ahead of Tsugawa of Japan and Cho of Korea. There is Tsugawa. At the turn, look how close they were, but Mark Evers, magnificent tumble and a push off the wall when he came out the water after his second streamline, a good half a body length ahead, and just pulled away to the wall. Evers ahead of Tsugawa, ahead of Cho in the first heat. Heat 2 of the men's 100-meter backstroke, S14. World record 59.26, held by Milyantsev of Russia, set at the World Championships in Glasgow last year. The start list sees 7 swimmers going in the second heat of 2, with Lee In-kook, the only sub-1 minute swimmer in this field. S14 classification for swimmers with intellectual impairment. With the 20-year-old Korean going in lane 4, the swimmer to watch. Very strong start from Korea's Lee In-kook, and comes up well ahead of anybody else bar Tang Wai-lok of Hong Kong on his outside. But this is real pace, great shoulder turn and an enormous stroke rate in the opening 25 for Lee In-kook, and it looks like he's going to take it all the way to the opening 50.
Swimming this like a 50-meter sprint, because that stroke rate was incredible. He's got the advantage at the turn and a strong underwater phase for Lee, and he's just extending that lead now. He's keeping that stroke rate going over this 100 meters, not far off the world record at the moment. Can he maintain this incredible rate into the final stages? Well,
he's got a point to prove. He was disqualified for arriving late in London 4 years ago, despite being one of the young promising stars of the build-up to the event. But indeed, looking for gold, he's laying down a marker in this heat. And Lee In-kook of Korea Republic touches trying to hold on to the shoulder of Van der Kolk, but at the 50-meter, she is well ahead of any other swimmer in the pool, of 32.1, over 4 seconds ahead of Breuer of Germany and Lindberg of Sweden. A very strong swim from Marlou Van der Kolk.
That's a fast start for her as well. 32.10 with a best time this season of 106.55. We're going to see a personal record here from the bronze medalist from the Paralympic Games in 2012. Can she go better here?
That's not the world record line. Do not look at that line that you saw for a moment, but it is a new Paralympic record, 107.23 for Van der Kolk. It's not a world record. It is indeed a Paralympic record. looks to be a little confusion. But it is a Paralympic record. Brittany Firth will swim for Team Great Britain at these games as the world record holder with a 1:04 swim. So 1:07.23 there, it's been corrected to Paralympic record. Women's 100 meter backstroke S14 winner Marlou van der Kolk of the Netherlands with a strong swim. Well, once she got into a stroke, there was only one swimmer in this race. Great shoulder turn. Just settled. Great rhythm in the pool.
Very fast straight rate. She kept it going over the whole 100 meters. Well, there it is, that new Paralympic record by van der Kolk, Netherlands. Lindberg, Sweden in second, Breuer in third. The women's 100 meter backstroke S14, heat 2. 5 swimmers going in this heat. Glasgow, Italy, Chikoki, USA, Firth, Great Britain, Applegate, also Great Britain, and Kang of Korea in lane 6. So the world record holder, Bethany Firth, goes in this heat number 2. She posted that world record at the World Championships last year in Glasgow. So Firth of Great Britain goes in lane 4, the favourite in this race. Gold medalist from London 2012, and she competed for Ireland and now got off to a very strong start. Her teammate Jessica Jane Applegate alongside the red caps of Great Britain. It's Firth, who's just seen her Paralympic record broken in the earlier heats. Can she react to that? She's going off very strong indeed. At the turn, leads with a 31.12. That's quicker than the opening time we saw in the first heat. Her teammate, Applegate, still in second. And look, there is the world record line. Bethany Firth of Great Britain on the mark at the moment. She certainly wants to get back that Paralympic record that we saw broken in heat number 1. Can she maintain this pace? That stroke rate is still high. The Paralympic record is smashed, and it is a new world record for Bethany Firth of Great Britain, the gold medalist from London. Well, second place going to Applegate, her teammate, and Kang of Korea touching for third. Bethany Firth of Great Britain really dominating the second heat of the women's 100 meter backstroke S14. Smiles all round for the gold medalist from London. She looks in form to repeat that later today.
You get the sense as well is that she's got a little something to prove. Bethany Firth, not to anybody else, but perhaps to herself. She missed out on the IPC World Championships in Glasgow last year after fracturing her wrist, so hasn't had top-level competition at the bigger events in some time now, but she is looking very strong in the first session of the swimming competition. Bethany Firth, a new world record in the second heat of 2. The women's 100 meter backstroke world record holder Bethany Firth breaking her own world record, 1:04.53. Jessica Jane Applegate of Great Britain, 1:08.41, comfortably qualifying for the final. But it'll be an intriguing battle between Firth and van der Kolk and Applegate, perhaps even Kang. The medal battle is going to be intriguing, but Firth looking well set to claim Another Paralympic gold medal, this time for Great Britain in the pool. Now this is the men's 100 meter butterfly, S13. There's 11 to 13 classifications for swimmers with visual impairments. The lower the number, the more severe the impairment. There are 6 swimmers going in the first heat of 3 for event number 11. Men's 100 fly S13. Latika of Finland, Agalagov of Kazakhstan, Pankov of Uzbekistan, Australia's Jason in 5 and Templeton in 6. And Colombia's Diego Fernando Cuesta Martinez going in 7.
Well, we have the current world record holder going later on. 3 heats for this men's 100 meter butterfly. This heat number 1. Spearheaded, so we'll see the faster swimmers as we've seen on the whole in lanes 4 and 5. But then the time's expected to improve as we get through to heat number 3.
So Pankov of Uzbekistan will be a swimmer to watch almost certainly in the first of the heats, the 21-year-old, although 18-year-old Braden Jason has shown some good strength. Oh, Jason off to a fantastic start, but it's Templeton of Australia with a great streamline and underwater, breaks the surface leading, but into his stroke in the men's 100 fly S13 category is Braden Jason, the 18-year-old. He's just ahead of Kirill Pankov of Uzbekistan on his right shoulder, but the two of them taking it to the wall. It's all about the back end here, and Pankov has got a strong finish. It's Pankov who just touches first ahead of Jason, and then it's Agalakov of Kazakhstan who touched third quickest. But it's a very strong turn from the 18-year-old Braden Jason as well, who's keeping right up with Pankov, who's just starting to edge away. Now almost half a body length ahead. Pankov coming into his own. Nowhere near the world record pace of Ihar Boki, the great Belarusian swimmer, but this is going to be a very solid swim to start, a 58.24 for Kirill Pankov of Uzbekistan, and a very impressive Braden Jason, the 18-year-old, touching second fastest. Templeton managing to outtouch Agalagov of Kazakhstan for third in this first heat of 3.
Winner Kirill Pankov, 58.24, just outside his qualifying time. Two more heats in this men's 100 butterfly S13. Kirill Pankov winning heat number 1. A good start for Australia. Braden Jason, Jacob Templeton, second and third. We move on to heat 2 for this men's 100 butterfly S13. We have the gold medalist from 2008 going in lane 4, Dimitri Saleh, Azerbaijan, will be one to watch.
Chamrak of Canada, Geraldo Correa of Colombia in 2, Hermanenko of Ukraine in 3, Saleh of Azerbaijan in 4, Kujayev of Uzbekistan in 5, Dupree of the United States in 6, and Akhmetov of Kazakhstan in 7. Anwar Akhmetov carried his country's flag into the Maracanã for the opening ceremony of the Paralympic Games. But Saleh, champion 8 years ago. And the promising swimmers Tursunjayev of Uzbekistan. Men's 100 fly S13 is underway, and an enormous leap off the starting blocks for Tucker Dupree of the United States. And into his stroke fairly confidently. Saleh of Azerbaijan, though, is now just surging ahead and looking to get to the wall first. Tursunjayev of Uzbekistan looking really good as well. Yarmolenko of the Ukraine, they almost touching a line. Less than 0.3 of a second separate the swimmers at the wall. Tucker Dupree not too far off as well. So at the moment, it's who's going to be caught between strokes, although in the back end it is Tursunjayev of Uzbekistan, who is showing that he is strongest in the closing stages. Uzbekistan ahead of Azerbaijan, and will it be United States or Ukraine to touch third? It's Tucker Dupree of USA. Tursunjayev of Uzbekistan ahead of Saleh, one of the Saleh brothers of Azerbaijani swimming. Dimitri and his younger brother Raman both set to compete, but it's Uzbekistan who claim a victory in the second heat of 3. 58-21.
That was a significant improvement for Tursunjayev, Uzbekistan there from his qualifying time, taking off almost a second and a half. So going out very fast in the heat, so he'll be hoping for a strong lane draw later on in the final. Took a little while to get going in the race, but that second 50 meters by the Uzbekistan athlete was very strong indeed.
Confirmation then of the victory. Tursunjayev of Uzbekistan and Dimitri Saleh of Azerbaijan, both dipping under the 1 minute mark. Tucker Dupree just outside. This is the third heat of 3 in the men's 100 fly S13. And it includes the great Ihar Boki, 5 gold medals 4 years ago for Belarus. He's the world record holder in this event as well. Ihar Boki, just a sensational swimmer. While he missed out on a gold medal in the 50 free, in the 5 other events he competed in, he picked up gold. He completely dominated the S13 class in London, the Ihar Boki. The Brazilian Tomas Matera, sub 60 seconds this year, and Raman Saleh, younger brother of Dimitri, goes in 5. Quick start for Boki in 4 and Saleh in 5. Cheers for Matera, the Brazilian swimmer, but straight into his stroke, and Ihar Boki showing his class already. He's well ahead in the opening 25 meters, and Ihar Boki should be looking to bring this to the wall in relatively quick time here. Let's see what time he posts. 25.78 for Ihar Boki, who's got a very strong back end. Just how much energy does he want to expend in the morning heat? That'll be the question. Well,
look at this. He is now storming ahead of the rest of the field. The crowd are going wild for Tomas Matera in lane 3 of Brazil, who's just in 3rd at the moment, a race between 2nd and 3rd, because Ihar Boki of Belarus has got this wrapped up. Let's see what time he can post this morning. It's going to be quick.
It's going to be, just outside his world record. A 54.54, it's a new Paralympic record, but what a race from Ihar Boki.
And the crowd going wild for a strong finish there by Tomas Matera to come home. It's an equal, it's a tie for 2nd between Tomas Matera and Raman Saleh of Azerbaijan, 58.40.
Well, very strong swims from Matera and Saleh, indeed being dragged along, no doubt, by the thoroughly impressive Boki. Saleh is a 57-second swimmer over this distance, but there's only one man to look at for gold, and that's Ihar Boki. He completely dominates in the S13 class. especially over 2 lengths of the Olympic size pool, where he's just got an amazing abundance of energy in reserve.
Well, there's the evidence of that domination. A 4-second win for Iha Boki, including that Paralympic record. Brazil again giving a good cheer for Thomas Mitera, who finished second equal with Ramon Saleh.
Now look at the battle between the 4 fastest qualifiers behind Boki for the final. When you're looking at medal contenders, gold you would imagine would go Boki's way, but the battles for silver and bronze are going to be an intriguing affair. This is the women's 100 fly, S13, heat 1 of 3 in this event number 12. Women's 100 fly. Tosh Butalova of Uzbekistan going in 4.
Alongside her, Giseong of Ukraine, freestyle specialist, gold at the World Championships last year. You see quite a lot of swimmers competing in the fly and the freestyle over this distance.
So Mota of Venezuela, Ido Beltran of Spain in 3, Tosh Butalova of Uzbekistan in 4, Stetsenko of Ukraine in 5, Te of Germany in 6, and Ferreira of South Africa in 7. Away they go. It's a very quick start for the Spaniard Ido Beltran of lane 3. But going in lane 5, Stetsenko of Ukraine looking really good for a placing, while Tosh Butalova of Uzbekistan in lane 4 has found her rhythm nicely and is now surged into half a body length lead. Emily Teller of Germany fading a little, but is still challenging for that second spot at the moment. But just over 30 seconds for the opening 50 for Tosh Butalova of Uzbekistan.
Well, over a second lead for Tosh Butalova at the 50-meter mark. I think she's going to just increase that now on the second half of this 100-meter race. The battle looking like it could be for second and third again between Ido Beltran and Stetsenko as they come into the last 15 meters. Still, Tosh Butalova over a body length advantage, has that rhythm in the flight. This is heat 1 of 3 heats, so she'll want a good time to give her a good lane draw later on. First heat goes to Tosh Butalova, 1:06.91. Second to Ido Beltran. That was, I'm just waiting for confirmation on the results there, because Tosh Butalova clearly touched in the lead.
Well ahead of Stetsenko, yes. Pay no mind to that. Stetsenko was about a 1:09 and Tosh Butalova 1:06.91. So no confusion about who the victor was, despite a flash up of dead heat, 1-1.
I think she swam within herself there, almost 2 seconds outside her qualifying time, but Tosh Butalova still dominated the first heat in this women's 100 butterfly S13. I'm sure she'll be feeling confident that there is more to give in the final. Took a little while to get going, but that second 50 really left the rest of the field in her wake.
Tosh Butalova ahead of Stetsenko, and Ido Beltran of Spain good enough for third. Second heat of 3 in the women's 100 butterfly S13. 7 swimmers, including the United States' Rebecca Myers, Polo Lopez of Spain, Reuter of the United States, Amilova of Uzbekistan, Myers of USA, Alicia Berra of Italy, Kaylin Curry of USA, and Maya Reichhardt of Sweden. Closest to your screen. Myers of the United States going in 4, the 21-year-old from Baltimore in Maryland. Myers was a freestyle and IM medalist in London 4 years ago, searching for some success in the women's 100 fly. She goes as favourite in lane 4 in the second heat of 3, but alongside her is teammate Marta Reuter, a 1:13.56 in qualifying. But at the moment it is Uzbekistan's Amilova who is pushing towards the wall at the first 50. And does go well under 30 seconds. Myers touches second quickest, and Bera on her outside with Reuter touching fourth quickest. So Amilova of Uzbekistan, a 1:09 swimmer at her best, is going to go significantly quicker than anyone else in the pool, bar Myers. But the two of them will come to the wall fairly confidently. It's about posting the times in the preliminary sessions, about getting through for decent lane draws for the finals. But quick time, and that is world record. Amilova ahead of Myers, ahead of Bera. I was wondering how she could keep it up, Amilova, and she's done enough to set a new world record, a 1:04.98. Muslima Odelova, who set it at the European Championships in Portugal in May. That record is gone. For Timurhan Amilova of Uzbekistan, celebrating a world record in the preliminaries. Well, a flabbergasted reaction from Alessia Bera of Italy. Solid on the turn here. She went under 30 seconds going out. We knew it was going to be fast, but just how fast? Not expecting a 1:04.72. What a wonderful swim from the Uzbekistan swimmer.
Well, she's laid it down now for her compatriot in the next heat. There's the world record confirmed. 1:04.72 for Amilova of Uzbekistan. Rebecca Mayers, 1:04.94. Second. We've still got one more heat left to go, where the previous world record holder, Muslima Odelova of Uzbekistan, compatriot to the new world record holder. What can she do? Can she raise her game and regain that world record? Now's the chance. This is heat 3 of the women's 100 butterfly S13.
Well, Uzbekistan looking for medal sweeps in certain events, and this is one of the events, the women's 100 fly S13. 18-year-old Muslima Odelova, a world record to win at the European Championships earlier this year. Just seen a world record go. She goes in lane 4. Very slow start for the former world record holder, but going in lanes 3 and 5. Delgado of Spain and Mendak of Poland going in lane 5 on her outside. Got off to impressive starts, but once she broke the water, Odelova is looking impressive. So how quick will she take this out? She'd need to go sub 30 seconds at least if she is to challenge to get back a world record. But to the wall, she takes it, and it is going to be a fairly quick time, but just how quick? 29.61. She's well on world record pace now. But has she got the ability to hold it in the back end? Well, she's streaking.
She's got that body length lead, Odelova. Can she maintain this stroke rate? The rhythm on butterfly is so important. She's just seen her world record broken. How motivated is she feeling in the heats? The finals this evening when the medals will be decided, but this now a great opportunity for her to regain that world record. Can she do it? Final few strokes and the world record has passed. Odelova wins heat number 3, Mendak of Poland second, Delgado Nadal Spain in third. That world record will remain with her compatriot Amilova from the previous heat.
Well, it was a fine swim from Odelova. She took it out very hard indeed. Under 30 seconds in the opening 50 meters, but coming home, lost a little in the back end. What a good rhythm. perhaps a little thinking to do. Might she be introspective and ponderous leading up to the final? But she's capable of breaking the world record. She's capable of going and bettering not only her personal best, but indeed the new world best. She will feel confident of that.
Well, it's all about the finals later this evening, when it's going to be a very close race between the two Uzbekistan athletes. The world record holder and former world record holder will go head to head. Both dominated their heats respectively. It'll be interesting to see if they can really push each other on when they're side by side.
Results then of the women's 100 fly third heat. Sodilova ahead of Mendak, ahead of Delgado, Nadal, Pruwot, Hittinger, Petrikovitskova. So advancing to the final, 3 Uzbekistan swimmers. Amilova, Nadilova and Toshpulatova will be battling with the likes of Rebecca Myers for gold, silver and bronze. A little Mexican wave. It's keeping the atmosphere rather encouraging and indeed quite electric in the Olympic Aquatic Stadium.
Plenty of Brazilians out in force today, and they'll be excited to see Daniel Diaz go in the second heat of this men's 200 freestyle S5. It's coming up next. I think they're warming up their vocal cords, ready to support one of their home favourites in the pool.
Well, the swimming is a sold-out affair for all the finals. So the final sessions are set to be jam-packed. They aren't going to be selling seats directly behind the pillars that have been placed in, because this is a temporary structure. It will be taken down post-games. Team Fox.
Well, this is only the heats, the warm-up session for the crowd. It's going to be electric in here for the first session of finals on day one of the Paralympic Games.
So on to the men's 200-meter freestyle S5 heats. First heat of 2 is upon us.
With a sellout crowd later on, this might be the only opportunity for some of these Brazilian fans to see one of their home heroes, 10 times gold medalist Daniel Diaz, going in the second heat. But now it is heat 1 for the men's 200-meter freestyle S5. Lopez Diaz of Mexico, Scully of Ireland in lane 3, Mullen, Great Britain, goes in lane 4, Perkins, USA, Lee for People's Republic of China in 6, and Murphy of Canada make up heat number 1. A Great Britain support out for Andrew Mullen. The Netherlands, can't miss them in their orange tops. Great to see so many children being inspired by these athletes and their performances here in the pool and over the next 10 days. It really is an action-packed schedule, 152 medal races throughout these Paralympic Games. And here come our swimmers for heat number 1, 2 heats in the men's 200 freestyle S5. Lopez Diaz of Mexico giving the thumbs up ahead of his race. goes in lane 2. Canada's Daniel Murphy on the other side of the pool in lane 7. There's one of the favourites, Andrew Mullen, Great Britain. Gold at the European Championships earlier this year. Silver at last year's World Championships. So one to watch in this first heat. People's Republic of China, Li Junsheng going in lane 6. And on his left-hand side, Murphy of Canada. Made 5 finals in London 2012. Can he convert them to medals in 2016? Mullen, used to being on the podium. What can he do today? It's a strong start for Mullen of Great Britain, the red cap in lane 4, who already has quite a significant advantage over the rest of the fields. 200-metre freestyle, 4 lengths of this pool. And now the rest of the field starting to even out a little bit. Perkins of USA coming back onto the left shoulder of Mullen, who had that strong start underwater. They come towards the first turn. It's still Andrew Mullen, the gold medalist from the European Championships earlier this year. Obviously in good form, leads at the 50-metre mark, turning in a 36.93, just ahead of Perkins of USA.
This is impressive from Andrew Mullen of Great Britain. The S5 classification, men's 200-metre freestyle, and a good stroke rate again from Andrew Mullen. So getting into that rhythm very early on, and good power from Mullen, just pushing his way through the pool, powering his way to the wall, looking for the touch at the halfway mark. A world record at 2:26.51. He's outside of that time at the moment, but off world record pace. And what he'll be looking to do is go around about 2:40, anything under 2:45 really, not to show too much. There's only one swimmer in this classification that can go anywhere near the 2:30 mark. But at the moment, it's looking like Roy Perkins of the United States, who's showing some intent in the back end of this freestyle race.
Oh, what a strong second half this is looking for Perkins. He was quite a way down on Mullen for the first half of this race, and now he's got that body length lead as they come into the final turn. This third 50 for the athlete from USA, really quite incredible. He turns now with the lead, 1:58.43. He's got a 2-second lead over the British athlete, and that just happened in that third 50 metres.
Well, that was a brilliant turnaround from Roy Perkins. But the stroke rate of Andrew Mullen has dropped somewhat, and Perkins looking very strong at the moment in lane 5, has turned it around at the back end. The swimmer in lane 3, James Scully of Ireland, looking good for the third place finish, while the battle for Lopez Diaz and Li Junsheng goes on for who'll touch fourth. But at the moment it's going to be Perkins ahead of Andrew Mullen. A fine back end from the S5 swimmer over the men's 200-metre freestyle, 2:39.69. He'll take that. Anything under 2:40 is a good marker laid down. We'll be looking to medal, will both Mullins and Perkins in the men's 200-metre freestyle.
James Scully touching in third for Ireland. Well, that was quite a significant improvement for Roy Perkins of the USA on his qualifying time. 5 seconds faster than his qualifying of a 2:44.81. He's got to be feeling confident with that opener here on day 1. Heat 1 of this men's 200 freestyle. S5. With a very strong second half indeed. The race completely turned around. It really was a race of two halves. Andrew Mullen of Great Britain looked to have it under control in that first 100 metres. Roy Perkins, USA, saved his strong performance for the finish and just turned it completely around. Delighted with that performance.
So strong back end from Roy Perkins sees him claim victory in the first heat of two in the men's 200 metre freestyle S5 ahead of Andrew Mullen. James Scully of Ireland good enough to touch for third. It's the second heat of the men's 200 metre freestyle S5, and it includes the greatest S5 swimmer arguably of all time, the home favourite Daniel Giseong. He's widely expected to improve his already incredibly impressive Paralympic medal haul. He won 9 medals, more than any other competitor in Beijing in 2008, and added 6 Paralympic golds, 4 in world record time in London. Getting off to an impressive start is the home favourite, and an appropriate roar of approval for Daniel Giseong in the water from this partisan crowd. But look at the speed at which he sides through the water. He really is an impressive athlete, the S5 swimmer. He can do no wrong according to his own fans, and he's not looking to disappoint them here. But looking outside of Giseong, Rodriguez of Spain going along nicely, and Theo Curin of France, a youngster, just 16 years old, who's coming to his own, touches second. Swimmers coming through, including Cameron Leslie, who's been the IM champion over the last 2 Paralympic Games, swimming in the 200 metre freestyle, and a man who I first saw playing wheelchair rugby, would you believe, some years ago in a quadrangular tournament with Japan, Australia and South Africa. He's representing New Zealand going in lane 2, but it's all about Daniel Giseong going in lane 4. He's not going to disappoint. He won't do it in the heats, and he won't do it in the final.
Well, the crowd are going to be helping him every stroke of the way, although it doesn't look as though he needs too much help as he turns the 100 metre mark, 1:16.2, 4 seconds ahead of his nearest rival, Curin of France. Turning in third, it is Tiacaluga, an athlete from Italy. But look how spread out they are now, as Giseong just a different class in this men's 200 freestyle. He looks like he might well be on track to open his Paralympic campaign, as he means to go on. Currently 10-time Paralympic champion, and this could well be another event that he will be adding to start his Paralympic campaign here in Rio de Janeiro. The crowd going wild as he continues to open up that lead. Look at that now, almost 7 seconds ahead of the rest of the field.
Well, he's just streaking along here. The crowd willing him to a fast time, to a world record time. It's not going to come here. He's not going to go near his world record of 2:26, which would tick on over now. But he's doing more than enough to show that he is the man to watch once again. It's been about 8 years since he's been beaten in the pool in an individual event, and anything longer than 100 metres, I don't think I've ever seen Daniel Giseong beaten in competition. But at 2:39.35, you would swear with the reception he's just received from this very, very happy crowd that he just won the gold medal. Cameron Leslie touching in third overall. That very impressive 16-year-old French swimming star. Theo Curin doing enough to touch second behind Giseong, the home favourite. But Giseong having a little chat to Spain's Sebastian Rodriguez, one of the veterans of the pool alongside him. And a few words from Rodriguez to the great man. 3 times he's been named World Athlete of the Year with a disability at the Laureus World Sports Awards. He's not only arguably the greatest of all the S5 swimmers in the history of swimming, but amongst the greatest swimmers ever to have competed at a Paralympic Games. He played a small but significant role in the opening ceremony of the Paralympic Games, his home Paralympic Games, and he is looking to clean up in the pool, as the Brazilians would say. Daniel Dias does not disappoint in the second heat of 2. He touches in 2:39.35, and we'll see him with the Premier Lane draw for the final. Theo Curran and Cameron Leslie also touching quick enough to qualify for the final. So the 8 swimmers who make it through to the final of the men's 200 freestyle. Don't look at the times, Dias and Perkins and Mullen. Dias has got plenty in the tank, although it's going to be an intriguing race indeed.
So we move on to the women's 200 freestyle S5, heat 1 of 2. We have Teresa Go, Singapore. Another Brazilian, Joana Maria Silva. Inbal Pizarro of Israel. Quan Yao, China. Fatis from France in lane 6. And Greeks Crisola Antionado making up this first heat. The S5 category, the one to watch, Pizarro of Israel. Silver medal from the 2008 Paralympics, bronze in 2012, and a silver medal in this event at the World Championships last year and in 2013 as well. So the most decorated swimmer in this heat. Well, it's a strong start for lane 6, Fatis of France. And now we start to see Yao and Pizarro. Pizarro, though, some work to do. The Israeli in lane 4. Currently being flanked by Silva of Brazil. The crowd going wild for the athlete in lane 3. And Yao of China in lane 5. And it's these 2 athletes who take it on in the early stages of this 200 freestyle S5. It is 4 lengths off the pool. A lot can change. Yao, People's Republic of China. The white cap leading at the first turn.
Well, no surprise, Yao Tuan, she's been improving tremendously in the pool in recent months. Silva of Brazil, though, looking good at the moment, touching 3rd quickest at the 50-meter mark. And Pizarro, as you mentioned, multiple Paralympic medalists, and still looking for that first gold medal. But at the moment, it's Yao Tuan of China who's leading in the back end of the opening 100 of the women's 200-meter freestyle S5. Yao Tuan, who trains almost every day of the week, and tries to give herself a few days break every month.
That's a very quick stroke rate for Yao. That lead not increasing, and it looks as though Pizarro is actually seeded 5 seconds quicker than the rest of the field, is now starting to show her strength. The Israeli athlete in lane 4 coming back onto the shoulder of Yao, People's Republic of China, and now they are stroke for stroke with just 75 meters left to go. And this again could be a race of 2 halves. Pizarro now takes the lead for the first time in this race.
Well, yeah, you mentioned the incredibly quick stroke rate that she had. Is she going to be able to keep that up was the question, and ultimately it seems not the case. Pizarro has swum her race. She's not been intimidated by anybody going quicker on her outside. 2:17.31 and a 2:18 for the 2 swimmers. Pizarro ahead of Yao. Silva dropping back just a little now. She's 2:23.20 at the final turn. And Pizarro looks to be coming in to the wall.
A much longer, smoother stroke Pizarro has, and that's probably just a little bit more sustainable over this distance of 200 meters. Although Yao not giving up, she's trying to have another surge, keeping that stroke rate high, and it's Pizarro who's going to keep the gliding stroke into the wall. Inbal Pizarro, the favorite in Heat 1 for Israel, wins the first heat ahead of Yao, People's Republic of China, in second, and the crowd now getting excited because touching in third, it is Joana Maria Silva of Brazil. Well, that was a well-paced race by Inbal Pizarro. She's got the experience, and she didn't change her race plan, coming back at the finish where it counted. Lane 7, and Tonya Do of Greece coming into touch now. And that's a 3-second improvement on the qualifying time for the Greek athlete. And it is Singapore's Guri Teresa Go. Crowd giving some encouragement to. And it's in lane 2. Well, there's the winner of Heat 1. Silver medalist and bronze medalist from the previous 2 Paralympic Games. It was a well-paced race by the Israeli. Maintaining her calm under pressure. So there, the results confirmed. Pizarro ahead of Yao, China. Brazil, Joana Maria Silva in third, to the crowd's delight. Heat 2 for the women's 200 freestyle S5. You see the gold medalist from London, so in lane 4. Lane 2, Brazil, Susana Ribeiro. Zhang, People's Republic of China in 3. Sarah Louise Rung, Norway in 4. Teresa Perales, Spain. Alongside her, Elisa Galamaz, USA. And Hungary's Reika Kedzdi in lane 7. Heat 2. Women's 200 freestyle S5. We've got the gold medalist from London and the gold medalist from Beijing going in lane 4 and 5, and it is Perales, the medalist or the champion from the Beijing Olympics, who's off to a very quick start there. The black cap in lane 5, and also going well, Zhang of China in lane 2, having a quick start to this 200-meter freestyle race. And the favourite in lane 4, having a slower start, but coming back towards the athlete on her right-hand side now. It is Sarah Louise Rung of Norway, trying to come back on the leading athletes. First at the turn, Perales ahead of Zhang, and then Rung in third as they just start to establish themselves in this 200-meter race.
Well, perennial contenders for medals, these 3 who are leading at the moment. Perales in 5, Zhang in 3, and Rung of Norway, the defending champion, in 4. But ultimately, Perales, one of the greats of not only swimming but Paralympic sport, and an executive member of the Athletes Council for the International Paralympic Committee, is Teresa Perales. She's held in such high esteem by her peers, by fellow athletes, by officials. And she's leading at the 100 mark here, just ahead of Zhang, who goes in lane 3, and indeed Rung, the defending champion, who goes in 4. It's a fine swim from Perales, but Rung has got a very quick finish, and both Zhang and Perales will be aware of that. Alyssa Gilamas of United States and Susana Ribeiro at the moment are going neck and neck as they battle for a 4th place. But it's not about the placings, of course, in the preliminaries, in the heats. It's about posting a qualifying time that'll see you into the final 8. That's where you want to be. If you want to swim in a final, you need to be 8th fastest. A very simple qualification criteria. The competition format fairly simple. The 8 fastest times, or relay teams, of course, in heats qualify for the finals of that event. And they'll be swum on the same day, but in the evening session, the final session. Now, with the final 50, they are absolutely neck and neck. About half a second separating the top 3. But this will be a good swim, and indeed Rung looks like she's got the little extra power left in the tank. She's got a little there, and she is coming into her own in the last 25.
Well, she does look like she's paced this to perfection. The 2 on either side of her, Zhang and Perales, did the work early on, and now Sarah-Louise Rung of Norway just coming into the lead when it counts. Give herself a strong lane draw. It is Rung of Norway who wins Heat 2 ahead of Zhang at People's Republic of China, and 3rd place to Teresa Perales, Spain. Led for so much of it, just touched that into 3rd at the end, and it's a close battle for 4th and 5th. Galames of USA touching in 4th, ahead of Brazil, Susana Ribeiro. The crowd again getting excited for their home athletes. Mika Kezdi, the Hungarian, finishing in 6th and beating her qualifying time by 2 seconds. Well, there's the winner of Heat 2, Sarah-Louise Rung, Norway, putting herself in a great position ahead of the finals later on. Well, that was so close between those middle 3 lanes, Zhang, Rung and Perales. That final 50 meters, nothing separating them until the real latter stages of that race. And there's the cap of the Norwegian, Rung, timing that to perfection.
Well, a warm embrace for the 2 long-time competitors. They are as familiar with one another as any in the pool. So Rung ahead of Zhang, ahead of Perales, Gilamas of the United States touching 4th, Ribeiro of Brazil 5th, and Kezdi with a 3:36.70. So advancing to the final, Rung, Zhang, Perales, Pizarro, Yao, Silva, Fatis and Gilamas just sneaking in. Now this is the men's 100-meter backstroke S7, the first heat of 2. You can expect a deafening roar when the swimmers are announced. Italo Pereira of the host nation Brazil will be going in 4. Pons Bentran of Spain goes in 2. Sinončić of Croatia goes in 3. Pereira going in 4. Badnitsia of Ukraine going in 5, and Guillermo Mairo of Argentina going in lane 6. That's Badnitsia. I saw a moment ago. That's the Argentine Guillermo Mairo. But there is Brazil's Italo Pereira. He's been improving steadily over the last couple of years in this race in particular. Failed to make the finals in London 4 years ago, but he was a World Championship bronze medalist just last year in Glasgow. And he's the reigning Para-Pan American champion. So Pereira, swimmer to watch. Kwasnicia in 5, strong swimmer as well. The men's 100-meter backstroke S7 first heat of 2 gets underway, and it is Kwasnicia of Ukraine who is quickest off the wall. But Italo Pereira, very long rolling stroke and just trying to pull himself through the water to the wall, with Sinovcic of Croatia not allowing Kwasnicia and Pereira to come away. But it is Pereira who's just sneaking into the lead at the halfway mark.
And the crowd delighted with that. Pereira leads ahead of Kwasnicia. And Sinovic still very much staying in this race, but Pereira now starting to show his form. 25 meters to go, and he's got half a body length lead. The Brazilian is going to delight the home crowd. The pool here is starting to really erupt with excitement, but actually the Ukrainian coming back strong.
Well, indeed, it looks like Kwasnicia is finishing strongest, but Italo Pereira is surely going to hold on here, much to the delight of the home fans. Pereira touches first, a 1:12.56. That's his second quickest time this year. So showing some decent form in the build-up to the Paralympic Games. And he's very happy with that time. 1:12.56 ahead of Kwasnicia, 1:13.53. Blowing kisses to the crowd. There we go. Italo Pereira thanking and acknowledging the Brazilian fans. They continue to cheer for him. He's being congratulated by the swimmer on his outside, Ukraine's Marian Kwasnicia. Good sportsmanship and a healthy respect for the swimmers.
Well, it was a well-paced race. Coming back a little slow on the start for Pereira, but showing his intention for the finals later with that first place in Heat 1. But we do have the world record holder yet to come in Heat number 2. So Pereira will have to wait and see just what lane he will draw for the final after that performance, but only less than a tenth of a second off his qualifying time.
So Pereira ahead of Kwasnicia, ahead of Sinovcic. He should have done enough to see them comfortably through to the final, but a second heat to come. This is the men's 100-meter backstroke S7, second heat of 2. The penultimate event of the preliminary session on day 1 of the swimming competition at the 2016 Paralympic Games. Hannes Schürmann, Matthias de Andrade, and then Jonathan Fox, world record holder, defending champion, going in lane 4. Here he is. Evgeny Bogodaiko of Ukraine going in 5, and Gao Nan of China going in 6. Jonathan Fox. He's got a great deal of British support in the venue in expectation of this race. He goes in 4. He was so incredibly proud to win this men's 100 backstroke S7 in his home Paralympic Games in London 4 years ago. An opportunity to defend the title here, but he's not leading at the moment. It's Evgeny Bogodaiko who is leading, but that is not going to last, and indeed there is Jonathan Fox just powering his way past his competitor. He might not have the strongest start, but what he does have is an incredible stroke rate in the pool, and another swimmer who finds his rhythm and settles very, very quickly into his stroke. 33.38 at the turn. Well, that's significantly below any other swimmer.
Well, he did just take a little while to get into his rhythm, but now he's found it, and it looks pretty unstoppable for Jonathan Fox. He'll be feeling confident, just wanting to really get the feel of this Paralympic pool. The first race of his challenge here in Rio, and he's looking comfortable. It looks as though he's just slowed down that stroke rate a little bit. He knows he's got this heat wrapped up. Jonathan Fox of Great Britain into the last 5 meters. Gold medalist from London, looking on form, winning heat number 2. Bogodeko second for Ukraine, and Onrade third for Argentina. Those times are 1:11.37 for Jonathan Fox. And he's got a qualifying time 2 seconds quicker than that. I think there's a lot more to come later on today. Just finding his stroke, getting into his rhythm. And I think there's a lot more in the tank that we will see later on. A lot more for those British fans to get excited about.
Well, Jonathan Fox, sluggish start, but once he found his stroke, his rhythm, he was well on his way. And by the turn, nobody else in contention to touch first to the wall. Kept his rhythm well outside his personal best, but a 1:11.37, nothing to sniff at. He claims victory in the second heat of 2 in the men's 100 backstroke, and will qualify quickest. Bogodeko and Andrade doing enough to advance to the final, so too for Gao. But Fox qualifying ahead of Italo Pereira of Brazil, and that'll be a battle that the home fans would welcome. And what is the last event of the preliminary session? The women's 100-meter backstroke S7. So Makinen of Finland, Rutcliffe of Canada, Howarth of New Zealand, Huang of China, Dubber of New Zealand, Graal of Germany, and Talamona of Italy. From 1 to 7. Getting away very quickly, going in lane 3 is Nikita Howarth of New Zealand. She's using that underwater as much as she can. She eventually breaks the water, but it'll be alongside her Huang Yajing of China getting into her stroke. But at the moment, still holding on here is Nikita Howarth. She's been coming into her own in recent times, and Rebecca Dubber, her compatriot of New Zealand, going in lane 5 as well. For the opening 50 meters, and it is Howarth who's holding on and looking good by a good body length, but it all comes down to the back 50. Huang is strong. That's a seeding time 1:22.86.
Howarth with a second lead, and she's so good underwater. She really uses that to her advantage and has done again off the wall. But how much can she hold on now for this final 50 meters? Huang looking strong, trying to come back onto the athlete from New Zealand, but it's still Howarth who, really having made the most of that turn, keeps the lead. And now one of her teammates, it is Rebecca Dubber, who is really challenging Huang of China, and it's Dubber who is now going to be the one to put the pressure onto Howarth. It's between the two athletes from New Zealand coming into the final stages. It looks as though Rebecca Dubber has timed that very well indeed, and she wins heat number 1, a 1:23.62 ahead of her teammate Howarth for second, and Huang of China, the fastest seed, touches in third.
Well, Huang, who dominated the Asian Para Games in 2013, has been outtouched by 2 New Zealanders, 17-year-old Nikita Howarth. Great underwaters, but Rebecca Dubber, her compatriot, shows a little more experience in the back end and a strong finish as Dubber touches first in the opening heat of 2 in this women's 100 backstroke. 1:23.62. She'll take that. It's just about getting the times to get a decent lane draw for the final.
Well, that was season's best as well for Dubber, so she'll be taking confidence knowing that training has gone well coming into the Paralympic Games. There'll be a great rivalry between those two athletes when it comes to the final. Not much separating Dava and Hawath. The results: Rebecca Dava topped Heat 1 ahead of her teammate Nikita Hawath. Wang of China in third. Ra Rudliff, Tanamona Sik, and Mäkinen of Finland in seventh.
Well, this is the very last race in the pool, the second heat of 2 in the women's 100-meter backstroke S7. Very last race for this session, event 16. Tilk, Shot, Jordan, Ke, Zhang, Guam, and Mihain. Of Estonia, Germany, USA, China, USA, and Canada, respectively, in lanes 1 to 7. Ke Li Ting. She was one of the youngest members of the team in London 4 years ago, but finds herself now as gold medal contender. Getting away nicely in lane 3 was Courtney Jordan of Team USA, but Ke Li Ting of People's Republic of China going along very strong, and Mackenzie Cohen going in 6th. Looking to be good, but holding on the outside is Courtney Jordan. Just looking to hold on to the left shoulder of Ke Li Ting, but Li Ting only recently took up para-swimming relatively recently, though. A bit part role in the Paralympic Games 4 years ago in London, but now looking to dominate in her events. It's not a great turn from Ke Li Ting, and she's lost time at the wall, but she's strong enough in the pool to make up for it.
Well, she's maintained that lead even with a poor turn, and just extending it a little bit now. The favourite in this second heat. What can she post? She's got a qualifying time of 1:22.53. We're going to see her beat that. Well, she's got no pressure anymore. Body length lead over her 2 rivals on either side of her. Her teammate Zhang looking close for second. But Ke Li Ting, China, comfortably wins Heat 2. And it is her teammate who just touches in second, Zhang, ahead of Cohen of USA, finishing third. Well, that's a new Paralympic record for Ke Li Ting of China. 1:22.72 beats the previous time by Jacqueline Franey of a 1:22.84, so just scraping inside to give a new Paralympic record in the heats. Can she get close to that world record later on in the finals?
Well, it was a bit of a messy turn from the Chinese swimmer, who would eventually go on to win, but once she got at the turn and got back into her stroke, quite happy to set that Paralympic record. And if with a messy turn she can set a Paralympic record, that might be a warning sign for others come the final. This women's 100 backstroke that Ke Li Ting means business. Oh, sense of humour. Not just sending a message of intent to the race. Paralympic record time, 1:22.72 for Ke Li Ting. Zhang Ying finishing second fastest, with Mackenzie Cohen and Courtney Jordan of Team USA at 3rd and 4th overall. They'll both sneak into the final. These are the 8 swimmers who advance. Ke Li Ting, Zhang and Huang will represent People's Republic of China. 2 New Zealanders in Dubber and Haworth. That'll give New Zealand a very good chance of a couple of medals even in this race as well. Well, the Netherlands support is always plentiful and always kitted out in orange, the national colour. And there's been a great deal of colour and wonderful achievements in the pool already. We've seen a host of world records and numerous Paralympic records set in what has been a preliminary session on the opening day of the swimming competition of the 2016 Paralympic Games. That's all 16 events have been completed for the preliminary session. Well, certainly a few Brazilians who were celebrated by the partisan home fans, including Italo Pereira and Daniel Dias. But a number of world records and several Paralympic records set in the pool already. We're set for a thrilling final session on day one of the swimming competition. See you then.